Welcome back to the village of Hashem. We're now starting the next midah of Nekius. Nekius literally means clean, cleanliness, but we're talking about a spiritual cleanliness. The Mesillas Yesharim tells us that Nekius is all about being totally and utterly clean from any bad midah, any bad negative personality trait, any sin or any wrongdoing. Not only the obvious things that we know about, like we covered already in Zihirus, where we have to be careful and watchful of the known dangers, but also in the ulterior motives that are often hidden in the mitzvahs that we do. And we claim to do them wholeheartedly, but really we have other rationalizations involved and personal motives. So it's a tremendous avoda to reach this level, says the Mesillas Yesharim. The known sins are relatively easy to stay away from because they're well known. But when it comes to Nekius, the precision that's necessary in our avodas Hashem is really, really precise, because we're talking about our own Nekius, our own biases that blind us in being able to see things for the way they really are. And even this is so, one who reaches this level, he says, has already achieved a massive madrega, a major level in their avodas Hashem, because he has stood up in a fierce battle, and he has actually emerged as the victor. So again, we were talking about the difference between Zihirus, which we started off with, which means to be careful not to do anything that's bad for us. Nekius is a whole new level, and not only to stay away from the obvious things, but that's to stay away even from the seeming minutiae or very extremely detailed aspects of our avodas Hashem. Now, the Mesillas Yesharim goes at tremendous amount of detail in breaking down all different areas of where a person could practice Nekius. And so he starts off based on the Gemara that most people are over Gezel, stealing. Some people arise forbidden relationships, and everyone in Avak Lashon Hara. So he goes through, based on that, he goes through a whole slew of them. We're just going to cover a little bit of it because we don't have time to go through probably the longest parak in all of Mesillas Yesharim. And he says stealing. So that stealing, of course, no one's going to take something that, a God-fearing Jew is not going to take something out of someone's pocket or shoplift something from a store. But it means even if a person's working for someone else on the job and he takes a little bit of personal time for himself, that's also considered stealing on a certain level if he doesn't have explicit permission to take personal time. When it comes to forbidden relationships, so that affect all the senses have to be clean from that. So certainly when it comes to action in Maisa or touch, never to touch or come in contact with one of the forbidden relationships that a person's not allowed to be involved in. When it comes to the sense of sight, that a person has to protect his eyes in all different ways. How he speaks, it has to be in a refined way. Listening to what a person hears has a profound effect on that person. And person hears a lot. Even it says that a person who hears nivul peh doesn't even speak it. He hears vulgarities and speech that is not refined, that has a very profound effect on him. And he will not escape the onesh that ensues afterwards. And even a person's thoughts. A person has a mitzvah to guard his thoughts. Additional to that, he goes on and explains about forbidden foods. That if a person even has a shaila, oh, I'm sure it's fine. Oh, everyone eats there. This rabbi says it's okay. Stay away from it. Interpersonal relationships, staying away from saying something that's hurtful, detrimental to a fellow Jew. Giving proper advice and not to say something to someone which might be a little bit misleading. Of course, lashon hara and rechilas, hatred towards your fellow Jews, seeking revenge. All of these are areas that a person who wants to be a naki, wants to be spiritually clean, has to really persevere in these areas. When it comes to swearing, taking an oath, and as the Gemara says, even if a person says hein or lo, even if a person says yes or no, that is a mini oath. Sheker, how many people are not careful with saying an untruth, even a white lie? We have to be clear from that. And chil Hashem, when a person is not living up to the standard of the way he's being viewed by the people of his generation, that could actually create a chil Hashem, and therefore we have to be so careful. Additionally, is Shmir Shabbos and Yontif. How careful we have to be, even in the small details. A person says, oh, I keep Shabbos, right? But he's not careful at the Shabbos table to speak about things that are weekday oriented or business or things that don't have to do with Shabbos, and those are certainly areas of halacha that we have to adhere to. Also in Nekius are midos, so he goes through a whole long list of them. And there's gaiva, he breaks down 6 different types of bali gaiva. Anger, all different 5 different types of anger types of people. Some people are explosive immediately and no one can even get close to them, and other people are very quiet in their anger and they hold on to anger in their heart, or more passive aggressive. There's some people who are jealous. That's another area of kinna and lust and desire for things, as well as desire for money and worldly things, that a person wants more and more material things. That is not acceptable when a person's striving for the midah of Nekius. And ultimately also the desire for respect and kavod. So a person has to stay clear from all these things. How do we acquire it? So he says, diligent learning through Chazal and Musar. When a person learns over and over Divrei Chazal and the Musar works that we try so hard in order to impress inside of us, and when we learn these ideas over and over, it penetrates our very being and it collides with those parts of us that might not be consistent with the teachings that are being taught. Some of the obstacles that get in the way of Nekius are the same ones as the heroes. Right? So we said, what are those? There's our over-involvement in this world. I mean, also leitzanos, not taking things seriously, as well as being in a negative environment, but also lack in knowledge in halachas. And a person has to learn very diligently all the halachas, so a person can't be a nucky if he doesn't even know the things that he's doing wrong. What are we going to do for the strategy today in order to integrate Nekius into our very being? So to internalize the trait of Nekius by improving our diligence in studying halacha and musar. So that means we should all try to commit to learning 2 halachas every single day from a halacha sefer in concerning an area of halacha maybe that has been overlooked. So if it's Shmir Shabbos, not as careful when it comes to kashrus, lashon hara, whatever it is, pick 2 halachas every single day in an area of halacha that we need to be stronger about. And finally, commit to learning 5 minutes of musar every single day from a sefer that you've never learned from before, whether it's Mesillas Yesharim, any of the classics, or even some of the newer sfarim that try to engage us in personal improvement. And with that, we should be able to remain strong and emerge as a naki person who's exemplifying spiritual cleanliness. Everyone should have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you next time in the village of Hashem.